nuclear weapons proliferation, challenging the Charter of the United Nations. And Charter of the United Nations says, proclaims, announces, declares that the first order of the duty of the United Nations Charter is that charter which contains about 181 articles, and the most important and the most significant and the most meaningful article is which reads for international peace and security. And that is the purpose of this class, and that is the purpose of IDST 7 course in a college on the campus which is located in the city of San Francisco, and a city where the UN was born. So the first order of duty is, Brendan, international peace and security. And nuclear weapons proliferation is the biggest threat to international peace and security in today's day and age. The reading assignment that I chose for you, ladies and gentlemen, is after reading of a couple of decades of literature that is available in the market. There are new books on the subject, but all those new books and new editions and new research articles are all informative. Here in this reading assignment, which I chose for you, and I keep discussing the contents and substance of this reading assignment with our students in the class, contains philosophical, hypothetical, and what is imminent for us to know through its theory, practice, experience, footnotes, historical record, and also the threats and potential threats that are there, and we don't really, truly, absolutely, and completely discuss those topics. This reading assignment brings us to the threshold of some flashpoints which are there, and they are the potentials of damage to humankind forever. There have been world wars which were world wars with conventional weapons, but thus far, ladies and gentlemen, and this is our, not mine, this is our purpose of this class. This is our purpose for you to understand from these reading assignments, from researchers like Dr. David Barash, Lipton, and this Stop Nuclear War article has all what you should be aware of and be informed about as to what is just possible in this beautiful world that we live in, and why we should all be together in order to know these realities on ground. Human nature is a strange phenomenon to understand and comprehend about, where on one side it is the message of peace, and on the other side you see the other side of the coin, that the same human being and same group of people, reformers and peace lovers, who are talking about peace, are developing weapons for mass destruction. And one terrorist against humanity is all it takes to annihilate a group of innocent people, no matter where they are, and no matter who that terrorist or warmonger is a threat to humankind, and we should all be together as a global family in order to confront that threat to humankind. On 6th of June 1945, the human nature discovers the most formidable, the most threatening, and the most damaging weapon on earth that humankind has ever known. And 26th of June, same year 1945, the humans get together on the street of San Francisco and come up with a Charter of the United Nations. 26th of June, 1945. 6th of June, that detonation of that deadly device. 26th of June, signing the Charter of the United Nations in order to safeguard us. And then on 6th of August, same year, ladies and gentlemen, dropping of the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima and killing approximately 150,000 people with a little teeny tiny nuclear bomb. We are here to discuss about the United Nations. We are here to discuss about peace in the world for all. In an environment of understanding, awareness and care, harmony and togetherness. That is the purpose. No emotions, no preaching. It is education. It is interaction between each other. If you want to learn something about the United Nations, if you want to learn something about the human psychology, education, peace, and human togetherness and unity, then we are here in IDST 7, United Nations. This is the only organization which has stopped the threat of nuclear war thus far. So 6th of June, detonation. 26th of June, signing of the charter. 6th of August, dropping of the bomb. And then on 9th of August, again, the repetition of the same attack on Nagasaki. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we get together again, and every year we meet and we talk about peace. This is that place where we should be talking against all possible potential warfares, against all potential and possible threats of terrorism to humankind in the world, no matter where they are, across the board for all. Yeah, question.
But isn't it pretty much impossible to completely quell some kind of insurgents, whether it's terrorism, whether it's just a war, anything of the sort, because there's always going to want to be a shift within the balance of power. There's always going to be one country that wants to have more power than the other, so they can rest assured that if they had to, they could blow the whole world to heck. So, you know, it's kind of a lofty idea or goal to really kind of make peace. I mean, it's almost impossible.
The response to this question from Obed is part of our reading assignment. The later part of the reading assignment of this article, Stop Nuclear War, discusses about the concerns that people should have and they don't. It is, in his words, isn't it sort of impossible to quell the threats which are there in the atmosphere, in the environment, because of the surrounding and supplemental and concerns and questions gathering around the humankind? Later part of this article. Prior to 1973 Arab oil boycott, none of us, scholars, writers, authors, speakers, teachers, faculty members, professors, academics, even raised the question or threat of any thing like that, which is oil boycott, energy boycott, which means killing the humanity in another way. We never thought about it. We never talked about it. There may be a few scholars, there may be a few humankind who must be concerned about this thing, but they never brought it in public. Now is the time that we should bring in public about what we have and what we can do in order to curtail, in order to constrain, in order to stop that threat which is potential. And preempt by our academic excellence, by our intellectual endeavors, to stop and talk about it. Every year you have a chance, you have an opportunity. This is that place. The United Nations is that place where you can talk about this concern, and then quell that potential threat that you might have. Recognition of problem is first, ladies and gentlemen. Planning about doing something about that concern and problem is number 2. And then comes solution or panacea to that problem. This is a triangle of struggle. thought, plan, action. If we discuss this today, if we know what it is, and this is the core lecture, this is the core concern, and this is the core objective of this United Nations class over here, that we should know where we are and what we are up against. Up against. How many countries, Brendan, produce weapons in the world? Is that correct? How many? Sean? Tell me, somebody tell me. 192 member states of the United Nations, they all claim to be civilized. They all claim to be the member states of the United Nations. They all claim to be very well educated. Members of the United Nations. Family members of the global village. And how many of them produce weapons? Somebody tell me. 100 of them. At least, and that's conservative estimate. I'm giving you the research point which I found in the documents, which was documented in late 90s, and we are 2 decades up now. 100 out of 192, a matter of concern for educated people, for people who are aware like yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, you will do me a favor as a teacher if you go out during your lifetime and talk about the crust of the matter with other people in the world, with a family, friend. Not just this is my personal concern, just because my personal mission for education. I really don't do this job for a paycheck. I do this because I feel like doing it. I feel like, sharing these concerns with you. So that when at the end of the day, I ask myself, what did I do after learning all this reading and doing all this research? I shared with Espen, I shared with Obai, I shared with David, I talked about this with Daddy, I knew I told this Brendan. I know that Cody was in my audience. I shared with them. And if they share with about 100 people each or 1,000 people each, it's not our personal profit. It's our duty to humankind. And that is the best duty you do to your people. 100 countries, David, producing weapons and selling them as well. Let me tell you, give you figures straight ahead, and I'll cover my notable points for your from your reading assignments. Promise. 100 countries producing weapons for what? And I'll give you some information from Carl Levine, a senator from Michigan, and Bob Kerrey, a senator from Nebraska, what they said about these nuclear weapons. And what a number of people who are concerned like you and I are have those concerns. It is for you. It is for your family. It's for your generation to come. It is for your offspring who would be here in this world. What kind of world do you want to leave when you leave this world? Ladies and gentlemen, you want to leave an aware generation of your time, of your era, of your period of time in your life. Life is too long if it is shortchanged. Don't shortchange your life. Make it lovely and lively and peaceful and friendly. And this is my consolation that yes, I do it wherever I go. Any continent or any country where I go to speak, I speak like this because I want to share this with them as education, as information. So coming back to my subject and title for today, nuclear weapons proliferation, 100 out of 192 member states of the United Nations producing weapons of mass destruction, conventional or otherwise, strategic of nuclear or nuclear. What's going on? Okay. Out of those 100 weapon producing nations, 10 of them produce 90% of the weapons of the world. Three of those 10 produce 2/3 of the weapons of the world. Those three nations are
United States,
Who
China,
said?
and Russia.
Yeah, loudly. Yeah, please.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead. One is,
United States,
and number two is?
China, Russia.
You know, now the numbers are changing. There is China too, but UK and France for sure. These three produce the 2/3 of the world weapons. And one of them produces half of the total weapons
What about
of the
India?
world production. Yeah.
So-
That is USA. Yeah.
So you mean to say that the the UK and France are part of the 2/3 that produce, or the three people or nations that produce the 10 world's most popular?
Exactly.
So why isn't the USSR part of it? That makes
That's about third or fourth, because you know in spending money and in spending their budget over military weapons, it is nowhere near number one.
I mean, I would think that since the USSR or Russia had like such relevant development programs like US did,
Yeah.
same thing with the UK. I mean, I could see those three on the top, but I would never think France.